Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Live right here on SportsGrid. It's GameTime Decisions. Kevin Walsh with you on this Monday night as we have just one game remaining in the wild card round of the NFL playoffs. The Minnesota Vikings against the LA Rams. This game tonight in Arizona due to the incredibly unfortunate tragedy of the wildfires within Los Angeles. Of course, we send our absolute best prayers and wishes to all those impacted by this. It has moved this game tonight to Arizona, and in turn, it did move the spread for this game. The LA Rams, the winners of the NFC West, slated as the home team in this matchup, but on a neutral site here, it is a 2.5-point number right now. Now, the LA Rams don't necessarily come equipped with a phenomenal home field advantage, but still, you'd rather be in your building than not. It's moved the 1.5s up to 2.5s as the Minnesota Vikings, and what was still, all in all, a great season with 14 wins, are slated to, or projected to get through this LA team. But there are a lot of questions around Sam Darnold and what can be expected from him in this spot. Sam Darnold tonight plays his first playoff game. Darnold, of course, did not make it while he spent that time with the New York Jets and certainly not with Carolina. Sam Darnold got a taste of postseason football, you could argue, though, in the game against the Detroit Lions. There was quite a lot on the line. The winner was the 1 seed, not playing this week. The loser was right here against the Rams. And for Minnesota, it meant playing the only other team outside of the Detroit Lions who beat them this season. Sam Darnold last week against Detroit, 166 passing yards, worst number of the season. No passing touchdowns, second time all season. 44% completion percentage. His lowest mark of the season. His passer rating and QBR for that game were both bottom 3 on the year. So in the biggest game of Sam Darnold's career, with mostly no close second, he was a disaster. Inarguably, he was an absolute disaster. The thing about the Minnesota Vikings as they enter this football game is they do not live and die on Darnold. The calling card for Minnesota mostly comes from Kevin O'Connell, their head coach. And that is why O'Connell closed as a huge favorite to win Coach of the Year. There is also the surroundings of Sam Darnold. Some weapons that have made life easier Aaron Jones, Jordan Addison, the return of TJ Hawkinson, and then the easy button, the superstar, and one of the best players in this entire league, Justin Jefferson. Jay Jettis goes out there, ho-hum, 103 catches, 1,533 yards, 10 touchdowns, tied a career high for touchdowns, was, as always, fantastic. But Justin Jefferson's NFL resume right now is incomplete. No postseason victories, just had the one appearance. And it was a home loss to the New York Giants in a season where Justin Jefferson was the offensive player of the year. 128 catches, 1,800 receiving yards. And in the playoff game, 47 yards. Locked up, bottled up. Justin Jefferson last week against Detroit, 3 catches, 54 yards, kind of locked up and bottled up. I don't think it looks the same tonight. Justin Jefferson, more than any player out on that field, I have a world of confidence in. But let me say with LA, they are one of two, which is kind of unimaginable, but is true, one of two teams who have an current coach, quarterback, active combination who has won a Super Bowl. It's McVay and Stafford, Mahomes and Reed. It speaks to the dominance of Pat and Andy. It speaks to, honestly, the dominance of Tom Brady for a really long time. But it also gives credit to Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay that they've been able to get the job done before and that postseason pedigree exists. You could argue that Matthew Stafford, if he's able to put up a second Super Bowl trophy this year, gets into that top 10 conversation all time at the position. If McVay puts up another Super Bowl trophy, he's probably on his way to entering into the greatest of all time conversation as far as NFL head coaches go. At least that would be the trajectory. It's easier said than done. Easier said than done. The winner of this game will play the Philadelphia Eagles, who clinched their ticket yesterday in a victory against the Green Bay Packers and put forth what I think was pretty easily the best defensive performance of the weekend. Bottled up the Packers, allowed just 10 points. They had one explosive play, a 31-yard rush by Josh Jacobs that elevated some of their numbers. Jordan Love tacked on a little in garbage time, also tacked on some turnovers as well. 3 interceptions. That result all coming with a lot of negative talk around the Eagles, unsurprising. All season long, the Eagles have been breaking the brains of some smart people even. Folks just can't really get a great grasp on what this group is. What this group is, what they are, the best team in the National Football League. It's been that way for a while. The best roster, the best resume. They added another head to that resume. A dangerous Green Bay offense that last year could have scored 60 if they wanted in Dallas as the 7 seed. They were lucky to get 10 against the Philadelphia Eagles. All this concern about Jalen Hurts in the first game back, somehow completely masking the defensive excellence. Another 100-yard performance for Saquon Barkley. Anybody want to stop and ask themselves what happens if the Eagles' offense looks better as the postseason goes on? Maybe. I don't know. You want to take that time to try and figure that out? That's all right. That's all right. People have been kind of trying to figure that out all season long, and they'll continue to figure that out. The Philadelphia Eagles, though, not Super Bowl favorites. They are currently the third option in front of them, the 2-1 seeds, the Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs. Detroit found out last night their opponent will be rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. Another walk-off win, essentially, for Washington, which has been par for the course for Washington. They, after their bye week, held New Orleans on the goal line at the gun. Basically a walk-off win against the Philadelphia Eagles in that comeback fashion where Kenny Pickett played mostly the entire game. The overtime winner in Atlanta, the comeback against Dallas, the comeback against Tampa. A lot of comebacks. Not a lot of leads. Not a lot of dominance. Sometimes that rug gets pulled out. The only shame of it all is that Philly doesn't get to be the ones to pull that rug out. Or maybe they will be. You never know. We are all in for that wake-up call at some point that the quarterback of the Detroit Lions is Jared Goff. Something people forgot throughout a lot of this season. That's all right. That reminder is always around the corner. Then again, the story of the NFC might be underwhelming quarterback play. And the story of the AFC, superstars. Not just Mahomes, who will face off with a youngster in C.J. Stroud, but a game where, quite frankly, the submit needs to be sent from both teams. The MVP award should not be decided by voters, but the winner of next week's game in Buffalo between the Bills and the Ravens. Give you the updated numbers next right here on SportsGrid.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all. It's
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Back right here, it is Game Time Decisions. Kevin Walsh with you on this Monday night. Locked in right now on Justin Jefferson having a big game. Do we pair those game specials? Puka Nacua? Do we look for the quarterbacks that have a dance? What about this total? We're going to have Joe Lisi stop by in just a little bit and get his thoughts around tonight's football game and everything else. But I want to just peel back to what we saw this weekend so far. We've played 5 games. And, you know, there's always the varying degrees of surprise and correctness. And I got to say, I thought of all the results, the most interesting was Buffalo's against Denver for me. A close win, Tampa or Washington? Yep. Eagles beating down on the Green Bay Packers? Yep. Pittsburgh not belonging in the playoffs? You guessed it. We'll talk Houston, L.A., but the way the Buffalo-Denver game played out, and I don't just mean a 31-7 final score. That is not that surprising. And I say that as somebody who really liked the Broncos in the game. It's 7-0 Denver, one possession in. And it's a field goal away on the final play of the first half to make this game 10-10 potentially. Now, the field goal does not go. A 50-yarder, it happens, right? It's not a crying shame. It's the fact that the second half, Buffalo, field goal drive, 5 minutes. Denver 3 and out. Buffalo, touchdown drive, a little more than 5 minutes. Denver, 3 and out. Buffalo, quick touchdown drive. You pick your head up. It's the fourth quarter. Bo Nix didn't complete a pass in the entire third, and the Bills have run away with it. And that stretch of football to happen when in the first half it was 7-0 Denver. Could have been easily tied at the break. I'm trying to figure out which do we weigh a little heavier heading into Baltimore. Which of those halves is the more telling half? Because I think for a lot of people, 31-7, discard Denver, move on, none of it matters. But for this Buffalo team, and I think one of the reasons I found myself picking against them, against the Broncos, is some of my preseason concerns, which I whiffed on. I've acknowledged that many times here on the desk and off air as well, right? Crept back up. Okay, missed within the regular season, but are some of those things still there? Is this defense good enough to get the job done? And is Josh Allen being asked to do too much in order to get the job done? And again, there was a moment where I was like, yup, this isn't looking great, but it didn't last very long. I think the aspect of this game that sticks with me is Buffalo went to the ground to kind of level this game out. James Cook, Josh Allen a little bit, right? Ty Johnson making plays. But Buffalo going to the ground the way that they did in the game against Denver. Maybe, again, I'm judging on a too harsh of scale. I oddly didn't love. I know Josh finished with an incredibly efficient football game. 6 incompletions, 10.5 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, still no interception, passer rating of over 135, QBR nearly 88. But Josh's best moments throwing the football, it felt like, came in the second half when they were in cruise control. I love a bit of bully ball. I love a bit of run it up. I still can't figure out why Saquon didn't score yesterday. Me and Devonta Smith shaking our heads. That's fine. But Buffalo's most important football coming on the ground with Baltimore on deck, I don't know. That doesn't sit right with me. And I think that becomes, if you are not involved yet in the futures market, if you are trying to get a scope right now of the NFL playoffs, nothing is more important than the game between the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens. With the Ravens already flipping to favorites in plenty of places. And on that fact, I will just say, when everything was set, and I talked about it here, you don't have to agree. I'm not telling you I agree. You know I don't. The books believe the Ravens are the best team in football. Flat. Baltimore being a slight favorite in Buffalo is not about Bills disrespect. People are going to lose their minds if the Ravens win this game and Kansas City wins theirs, when this line looks very similar in Arrowhead. But that's where we are heading because the books believe the Ravens are the best team in the National Football League. And because the biggest way to take away Baltimore being that is more than anything, the postseason struggles, every win will only gain in confidence. I'll add this now. Don't be so sure that the winner of Baltimore and Buffalo will play Kansas City. Certainly don't be as sure as I am that Kansas City will not cover the 7.5 against Houston. What are we doing? Which way do you want to attack how insane that number is? Every Chiefs game ever? The fact that it was 3.5 3 weeks ago when they met? How good Houston looked against LA as the game went on? Which angle do you want to take to talk about how nuts that number is? Come on. Who's going to convince themselves that the Chiefs -7.5? Come on. How about some Sports Millions pick 'em next?
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Back right here on SportsGrid, Kevin Walsh with you this Monday night. And it is time for the Sports Millions Pick'em. And there are a lot of different options out there, of course, on Sports Millions Pick'em. Yesterday when we were on Pro Football Today, we were talking a lot about some of the defensive options that you could potentially find. Zach Bond just missed that higher than 8.5 number, landing at 8 total within that football game. Perhaps, though, some better luck here for our pickers. Let's see what we have from the Sports Millions Pick'em side.
Happy Monday, everyone. It's time for Tom Vecchio and myself, Joe Madden, to talk some wild card Monday night football. We have the Minnesota Vikings taking on the LA Rams. And Tom, what are you expecting in this matchup? Because I'm excited to put in our higher and lowers.
Yeah, we have the final game of Wild Card weekend. I think we are in for, I want to say, close game tonight. I know some of the games over the weekend haven't seen a ton of scoring. We've also seen some blowouts. I do think we will be in for a closer game. I do think the Rams come away with the victory in this one. I'm feeling a 24-20 kind of win. It's going to be super close the entire game, decided by maybe a late turnover, wherever it might be. But specifically for a player tonight, let's turn to TJ Hawkinson, higher than 42.5 receiving yards. I love the role that he plays with the Vikings overall. I also love the defensive matchup that he has going up against the Rams. This season, they allowed the fifth most receiving yards to opposing tight ends, sitting up at 1,101. And I do think the Rams will be essentially diverting extra defensive resources to cover Justin Jefferson, cover Jordan Addison, and they'll leave a little bit of opportunity for Hawkinson in the middle, who really hasn't had a massive game this year outside of that one when he first came back. So I like Hawkinson tonight against the Rams.
I love where you're going there because you look at Sam Darnold off that last game and he's going to want to get those short passes out as well and not turn that ball over versus the LA Rams. So Tom, I think you're locking in a great higher there. And when I look at this matchup, I have to go to Justin Jefferson. I know in that last game, he had 9 targets and only 3 receptions versus the Detroit Lions. Sam Darnold struggled as well to get that ball moving, but I'm looking for that complete bounce back out of Justin Jefferson. The first time he faced the Rams, he wasn't able to get that receiving touchdown on the board, but did put up 115 receiving yards. I'm looking for him to get in the end zone tonight. I'm going to lock in Justin Jefferson over half receiving a touchdown in this matchup and keep my fingers crossed he can get it done against a team that he was unable to get it done against earlier in the season, but he does have 10 receiving touchdowns on the season. I'm looking for that huge bounce back out of Justin Jefferson and Sam Darnold tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And last week, we have to remember that some of those passes that he missed were in the red zone or the end zone. So the targets are always there for him. The red zone targets are absolutely there for him. And Darnold will absolutely be looking his way tonight.
Yeah, he should be looking his way for those strong hands. So you guys, we're locking in those for our Sports Millions picks tonight. Make sure you come back and join us on Game Time Decisions tomorrow for some more.
All right, great stuff there, as always, from both Tom Vecchio and Joe Madden. Again, Sports Millions pick 'em tonight. So many options. Whether you're going to bet tonight's NFL game between Minnesota and LA, get involved perhaps with a big NBA card here as well. Waiting to see on the news around Jalen Brunson tonight, if he plays or not. Could make a big difference for some of those numbers here. But let's get a little bit more from Tom Vecchio around Sports Millions pick 'em.
Enjoy Sports Millions pick'ems, but hate making the picks yourself? Well, Sports Millions has you covered. Head on over and play Sports Millions Blitz'em right now and let the computer do the work. Go to sportsmillions.com/blitz'em to be able to win big prizes without having to make a single pick yourself. That's sportsmillions.com/blitz'em.
All right, great stuff there. Again, Sports Millions pick 'em. All of your options tonight, whether that be, on these two quarterbacks between Darnold and Stafford, or the guy that I'm trusting, superstar Justin Jefferson. Feels like it is time for him to make a bit of a name for himself in the postseason. We know he always stepped up in big games throughout his time at LSU. You could ask a couple of questions, I'm just saying, around JJ during his time in Minnesota. He's not had a ton of opportunities, but in the one playoff game he had, well short of his expectations and standard. Last week against Detroit, same story. I think he changes the tune a little bit here tonight. Up next on Game Time Decisions, we bring Joe Lisi into the fold. That's right here on SportsGrid.
As the candles flicker, a new tradition shines. 8 nights of Hanukkah, 8 nights of winning insights.
Like, they may come out slow, so you might be able to get a better number. Wow, they're favored.
With SportsGrid, every night is another chance to win.
No pick sixes today. They cover.
So let's crunch it up. Let's make it happen. Let's give you our favorite props.
Let your Hanukkah winnings brighten your celebrations. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun. I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
You don't want them to go 13-0 and then lose the first round of the playoffs.
Red.
This is their last shot. They don't really have anywhere else to go yet.
Hot take.
By the time I hit, I guess what, Route 33 up here, that ticket's cashing.
Only on SportsGrid. In the heart of winter, when nights grow long, we come together under these lights. A team, united by purpose. Fans, bound by passion. Each holding a small flicker of hope in their hands. At SportsGrid, we believe that even the darkest nights can't dim the unity we share. One team, one stadium, one shining moment. This holiday season, we shine brighter together. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at
Big ball game here in Arizona. Let's break it down. Kevin Walsh, it's Game Time Decisions. We're joined by Joe Lisi. How we feeling here, closing out Wild Card Weekend?
Feeling great. What a victory last night by Jaden Daniels in Washington. Unbelievable. The kids got it. We're going to ride that momentum straight from last night into tonight. Maybe a party over.
Potentially some points there. Some love for your guy from Jaden Daniels. I think you and I should get a little bit into what we saw yesterday. And let's start right there then. What did you make of Washington's victory 23-20 on the road against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Well, we talked about it in terms of the pregame. They had won 5 straight entering that matchup, one of the hottest teams in terms of the NFC with the Philadelphia Eagles and some of the others, right? But they stepped up. Jaden Daniels made enough plays, but I was more impressed with the defense because we talked about it in the pregame yesterday with Donnie. Baker Mayfield, over the last 7 games of the regular season, was averaging 285 passing yards per game, 17 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, Kev. Yeah, they gave up 2 passing touchdowns, but to hold them 100 yards under that average was a main reason why, in my opinion, they pulled out the 3-point win on the road.
Yeah, I thought for Washington, they made some timely plays. I thought Tampa Bay had a lot of self-inflicted wounds. The fumble, the inability to snap the ball for likely a quarterback sneak and not a handoff where they had to settle for a field goal. And I think for me, I look at Washington and look, I say this with no bits, no jokes, no jabs. I think they're right for the picking. I don't think they're a legitimate threat in any way to win this conference. Maybe they knock off Detroit. That has to do with kind of how I feel around Detroit more than Washington. But this is a team to me who's been living on the edge for a long time. You give Jaden a lot of credit because he knows how to win those games somehow at the National Football League level. He couldn't at the college level, but he knows how to win them at the NFL level, and it's worked out great.
It has. I noticed you snuck that in at the college level. All right, I get it. 9-3 overall in terms of his senior season. You're right. I don't think that they're a legitimate contender to challenge Philadelphia should they match up, Kev. But again, they're playing with house money right now. We talk about, over-exceeding expectations with Jim Harbaugh in L.A. in year number 1. They plateaued in terms of that loss to Houston. Dan Quinn has done a fantastic job. Right. And to get this far and to have a rookie quarterback win on the road against a team that has stepped up over the last 7 or 8 weeks in terms of Tampa Bay against a hot quarterback in Baker Mayfield and basically contain him, not just offensively, but that defense to step up and make plays. That's a pretty good effort. Now, they're going to need a monumental effort. But out of Jaden Daniels, I believe they need 275 and 50 yards on the ground on the road in Detroit and Ford Field. But who's to say they can't pull it off, right? I mean, we've seen Detroit now be banged up. There's always the potential to come out flat in anything. But again, are we putting Washington on the same level right now as potentially Philadelphia? Absolutely not.
Now, speaking of Philadelphia, their win against Green Bay left a lot of people with a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious how you left the Eagles' victory against the Packers.
I said it to Ben, and I'll say it to you again, and I said it on the pregame. Again, we're going to have to bring it from an offensive perspective. Green Bay, they didn't do that. They got absolutely abused on both sides of the ball, and you want to talk about just beating up wide receivers, Jaden Reed. I mean, glass house, right?
Yeah.
Dobbs goes down. I think Wicks every wide receiver got knocked around by that secondary. That's a testament in terms of what Vic Fangio has brought in terms of his physicality. He's coached up the young players. And again, I don't care that Jalen Hurts didn't put up 400 yards and A.J. was a little bit limited. That wasn't the game plan. The game plan was to grind out a victory against Green Bay, and they did that. Green Bay could never establish tempo and get the lead, and from that point, they were just abused by the offensive defensive lines. That was a great effort by Sirianni and the crew yesterday.
You know, see, Joe, that's kind of what I appreciate, though, because I think what you said there is not how a lot of people are leading the breakdown around the game. Everybody's hyper-focused on the Eagles' offense, and look, if you say, hey, listen, copy-paste this box score, hey, do you think that that's a Super Bowl winning box score on their offensive side? Maybe not.
No?
But yeah, that maybe.
But
Again,
that's
they
what
have
the
the best
Chiefs
defense
do.
in football.
But that's what the Chiefs do. You see, again, we're talking about two sides. Everybody's expecting, because there's Hurts and there's A.J. and there's Devontae and Goddard stepped up. We want to talk about a beast. I mean, I had him. You saw what I had. I had Goddard over 40 yards receiving to complete a parlay. Get in there, big guy. I mean, that's what Kansas City does. I don't look at you have to win a certain way. Each game is different, right? Especially in terms of a playoff environment. You had a team in terms of Green Bay that wanted to run the football. They contained Josh Jacobs for 3 quarters, basically. He was never got going. They never could sustain drives. Third down defense was phenomenal. Jordan Love looked like a deer in the headlights. And that defense brought it against a very good wide receiver core, minus Christian Watson. I mean, I thought Love would throw for 225. He was contained to $170. I mean, that was terrible.
They totally bottled them up, and I think the reality is Philly has shown time and time again against some of the top teams that made the playoffs, right? Whether that be Baltimore on the road, L.A. on the road. I know Cincy didn't make it, but we know what that offense was, and they did it again here against the Packers. I thought it was comfortably the most impressive defensive performance of the weekend so far, and I don't think that's the way a lot of people, started with the game. And I said to you, there are nobody's asking questions around Matt LaFleur. And I get it, but, how long is that going to last?
No, it lasted till when did the game end? 7 o'clock? 7:30?
But even that, I don't know.
I tweeted the Green Bay Packers. I mean, was it in Josh Jacobs' contract? That way, you're down by 9-10 points in the game. You're running the football with 6 minutes left.
Yeah.
I mean, get off your ass, guy. Wake up. Understand that you're down. The clock is against you. You have a guy in Jordan Love that you paid $50+ million that took over for a Hall of Fame quarter. Utilize the guy. What are you trying to run the football on each and every down? And again, styles make fights. That was a great defensive game plan. But again, you could see. The eye test showed me, and I always knew that, Kev. I told you the one thing I wanted to see when they lost early, right? When they lost to Kirk Cousins, can that defense live up to the expectation and the hype? We knew the players in college, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean, unfortunately, with the patella tendon. He'll be missed, but he has been a mainstay of that offense. Zach Bond yesterday with the intercept. I mean, they have it at every level.
Yeah.
Every level. They are there, and they're going to be there. The only thing, people have said the only way Baltimore could lose is if Baltimore stops themselves. I'll say this. The only way the Eagles don't get to and win the NFC Championship is if they implode on themselves, because they have everything you want in terms of a championship caliber team.
You mentioned Baltimore. Their matchup is set now for next week to Buffalo. You like the Bills a lot in their game against Denver. 7-0. start 31-7 final for Buffalo.
That's exactly what they had to do, right? They won those games. They were undefeated 8-0 by 16.6 points per game. They got exposed early. They made adjustments. But again, that's a rookie quarterback. Yeah. That's not going to be the case now with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. They're playing with confidence. They need to shut down Derrick Henry. They cannot allow Derrick Henry to dictate the tempo early on in terms of that matchup. Put the game on Lamar Jackson early in that matchup. Force him to throw. Yeah. You think you could expose us over the top? That's great. Do it. We're not allowing 22 to beat us. You could carry it 15, 20 times in the first half. He better get 37 yards.
Yeah, I think for me, for Buffalo, like, it's great to win 31-7. Maybe I'm picking on him. Them having to lean on James Cook that much is odd to me. It's odd. Like, they're going to go out there and play smash mouth football with Baltimore?
Yeah, I don't know. They're gonna need a lot more out of Keon Coleman. They're gonna need a lot more.
It's gonna have to be unbelievable.
350, I believe. Yeah. Think about the first game. What did he throw? 150 in that game? Keon Coleman was a non-factor till the second half. You need a better effort.
Without a question. I also, again, I know they won't do this, but they should say, hey, listen, we're going to cancel all the votes. Whoever wins the game gets the MVP. And if either guy says no, then they're not the MVP. Right. Scared, coward, boom. And if they both say no, give it to Lane Johnson. We're going to take a quick break right here on Game Time Decisions. When we come back, though, we have some matchups set. We got a great game tonight. And we, of course, going to talk a little bit about the Dallas Cowboys. That broke earlier today. Some big news. Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Welcome back in Game Time Decisions. Kevin Walsh with you on this Monday night, joined by Joe Lisi. Joe, tonight, it's the LA Rams, and it is the Minnesota Vikings game in Arizona. How are you feeling around this one?
I feel good. And again, my best bet in regards to the matchup is the total 47.5. Last time they played on the primetime, Rams won by 10, 30 to 20. That game, I believe, was right in the area of 47, 48. They got through the total. in terms of the first matchup. I'm expecting points. Right now, I do expect a bounce back from Sam Darnold. He didn't step up in Week 18 against Detroit. I expect him to challenge that defense over the top. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. My guy tonight, though, was Hawkinson. Altered him to 50+. I like Aaron Jones as an anytime touchdown, and I believe Stafford steps up. I'll give you a bet that I did take. I did some research. Don't think I'm crazy. We talk about Kyron Williams going through the receiving total. Last time they played, he had 7 targets in the receiving game. He had 3 catches, 19 yards, 25+ tonight, plus 390.
Yeah, I'm interested in maybe a receptions prop even on Kyron, one of those backs that at times in the receiving game doesn't feel as explosive. Right. Doesn't mean he can't get there, but just the pure catch the football, I don't care where you go angle could be a little more tempting to me. For me, Joe, I am locked in on Justin Jefferson, and anything I bet outside of that, it'll be what it is. But there's a part of me, I think bettors sometimes get this way, where I am feeling as if any bet I put on Justin Jefferson, and you look great, by the way, they're sticking with you. They're loving what they're seeing from you here.
Is it the jacket, the Ron Burgundy?
It looks fantastic. That's all right. Anything I go to that is not Justin Jefferson, I'm like, maybe I just should have put it towards him. Lisi, 1 career playoff game, loss, very underwhelming.
Right.
Last week against Detroit, loss, very underwhelming. 8 on this LA team. If I'm not mistaken, that was the game at one point we were firing away 200 plus.
First half was 14-14. Then they dialed it back in the third quarter, and they still snuck it through the total. But that game was on pace for 65 points, Kev.
Like, I'm feeling as if tonight we could see Justin Jefferson.
It's a great look.
150. I think there's a world where he goes out there and just goes absolutely berserk.
Well, if you're Minnesota, right, and you have this hot year by Sam Darnold, and you know that he started slow and red zone opportunities, they were inconsistent last week.
Yep.
You're going to live and die by your best players. If you're going to lose this game, I'm going to lose with Sam Darnold throwing it 40, 45 times in terms of this matchup. I'm going to target Justin Jefferson 13, 14 times, and let's see where the chips fall, right, in terms of that. So it's not a bad look. Look at what Houston did. We talk about Nico Collins, right?
Yeah.
Nico Collins non-existent or a little bit shaky down the stretch. That we didn't see C.J. Stroud step up. Once they got the touchdown, it was full bore ahead, and he puts up 282, and Nico threw 100. Same thing. If I'm Kevin O'Connell, and I know that I lost that playoff game with Kirk Cousins a couple of years ago when I had the better team against the New York Giants, I'm living and dying with my best players tonight. And again, if I know I have the better quarterback, now you got to show it.
Yeah, I think I think this is going to be a really fun game. I like Minnesota. I think that they can get the job done here with a hot start. I think the offense should start hot. I think that ultimately their defense will be opportunistic. I'm likely going to bet over 2.5 turnovers in this football game. I think that is on the board. I will also just tell you this. This is tonight, me, you, and Donnie, our last NFL watch-along of the season.
Sad.
There's a part of me that thinks we just go brothers in arms. And your best bet, my best bet. We'll just walk through the fire together.
I'll do it right now.
And I'll just play this over. Yeah, whatever you want.
Yeah.
That's because
I was thinking of one of those party overs, like meaning Stafford 275.
I was thinking about taking them each to get to 300 maybe.
You want it?
Because the 600, it's like they know it's coming.
Right.
They're shooting it down. So
I'm with you.
We maybe just rocket ship.
Yeah, let's do it. If we lose, we lose.
What's the worst that it won't be the first game?
It won't be our first loss. Certainly not our last, right?
Certainly not. Let me ask you quick with the McCarthy news. I believe that Dallas just walked backwards into something great.
Yeah.
I don't think he should have been brought back in any capacity. People go, but he's won 12 games.
Come on.
Okay, yeah, and he keeps falling short in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Oh, but they were good with Cooper Rush. I don't care. They were a disaster when Dak was healthy. I think this is excellent news for Dallas. We'll see who they bring in, but for the time being, I think this is a big win.
Oh, it's a huge win. And again, don't tell me Mike McCarthy coached well down the stretch when the pressure was off. That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, you beat up on garbage teams.
Right.
I mean, come on. Let's call it what it is. With Dak Prescott, you didn't have a home win this year after starting the year 16-0 at home. Come on, let's call it what it is. The question remains if this opens the door for Dion, if this opens the door potentially for another hot quarter. What if he gets Kellen Moore? And I've said that because he's a yes guy, right? He was like supposed to be the coach in waiting when he was the offensive coordinator. Is that enough? Like, does Jerry pull the trigger for that, or does he pull the trigger for Dion? Like if that's what I'm saying. Does he make this move right here, right now? And did he do it because Dan Quinn, his former DC, picked up the win last night?
Yeah, I think they ultimately couldn't come to a deal on a number. Here's why. I think McCarthy has the New Orleans job already.
Okay.
Every bit of reporting is they're like, oh, he switched agents out of nowhere. The Schefter tweet comes out. It gets quote tweeted by, I believe it was Nick Underhill, who covers New Orleans. Oh, they're going to be interested. Shefty bangs the retweet instead of tweeting it. Okay. They're like, yeah, his agent, McCarthy's agent, was Sean Payton's old agent, so he and Mickey Loomis are close. Mike McCarthy would have not let this play out this way unless he had a job. So I think McCarthy already has the New Orleans job. I think that's why he's no longer staying in Dallas.
And it's, honestly, it's a better fit for him because, again, the expectations.
Because the expectations are lower, so when he falls short, it's fine.
I mean, think about, the expectations there. Can he win the division? Possibly. Anybody can win the division. Yeah. I mean, it's been dominated by Tampa Bay in the last 4 years.
Well,
but again, but what I'm saying is it's like Tampa didn't wow people with a 14-3 record, right? So the door is always open. So that's a perfect job for Mike McCarthy.
For McCarthy.
Right.
Yeah. New Orleans. Oof.
They got to get rid of Loomis. He's terrible.
Just hire Joe Brady. I mean, I laid this out perfectly. It was all there for you. 10-year deal. Wouldn't have thought twice about it. But now the best job in football is open, which is the Cowboys head coaching position, which automatically gets you work in media if you ever want it. We'll be right back with Lisi next. Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid. We're back right here. We're on GameTime Decisions on this Monday night. Again, all eyes are on the game between the Rams and the Vikings here. We were talking a little bit about the news around the National Football League. Mike McCarthy out in Dallas by his own volition, which is even more insane than maybe him being brought back.
quite frankly, every expectation is he's going to get the New Orleans job, which is what it is. We saw Mike Vrabel get the job, Lisi. One thing that was noted for Dallas is due to the timing of the situation with McCarthy, they can't interview the Lions coordinators, Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, who everybody's interviewing, now until their season is over because they missed their chance during the bye week, which people were taking some shots at Dallas around.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think is Ben Johnson going to go with Jerry Jones, or is Jerry wants a bigger hire? You got to keep in mind as well, the fact that they didn't win a home game until basically Cooper Rush got under center this year.
Yeah,
it's about selling tickets as well. With Jerry, it's about the revenue too.
Yeah,
right. So, what would bring in the most revenue? Mm-hmm. Would it be Kellen Moore? Would it be Dion? Or is it going to be Ben Johnson? Like that's my point. Like,
okay.
The only way you get bang for the buck with Jerry is if you could do both. Get a great head coach and potentially put people in the seats to come out and see the product. Yeah. What's going to do that, though? Dion would.
But I don't know. I don't feel – it's very bizarre. I guess I'll defend Jerry Jones. I don't think that Mike McCarthy was brought in because, he's some superstar.
No.
They're like, oh, he's got Super Bowl pedigree. And again, I think he was ready to bring Mike back. I know we say McCarthy, people say, McCarthy was yes man, didn't really ruffle feathers necessarily, but, McCarthy fired Kellen Moore, gave himself play calling back. McCarthy ultimately left Jerry, with Jerry looking to maybe pay him. So I don't even know if all of that is true. And I say this, the Cowboys' job is the best job in football. Being the head coach of the Dallas, Jason Garrett, I'm not even trying to be mean. Mostly nobody thinks Jason Garrett is good as a broadcaster.
He's not.
Was given the Notre Dame spot.
Yeah.
Lost it. We'll just put you in the studio, and now you can do Sunday night every week. Jason Witten got a job in broadcasting. I don't think they ever even did the test run. He was so bad he had to go back to playing football. I'm not even kidding.
Troy is good.
Hold on. But, it just so happens that Troy Aikman and Tony Romo happen to be two of the three biggest broadcasters in football. The Cowboys are still the Cowboys. The worst thing that could possibly happen to you is what? Again, be set up for life?
No,
Jerry
you're
doesn't
right.
fire people the way you would think.
No.
Jimmy Johnson's still on television. Right. I'm not kidding. If Mike McCarthy didn't want the New Orleans job, does he want to sit here? I don't think it would be as friendly as he wanted to be. But, that job is a gold mine.
It is a gold mine.
And now you come in, the expectations are lower because
No,
Mike.
they're not.
What do you mean they're not?
No.
They're going to have the third odds to win the division next year, right?
Probably.
Okay.
Are they, though?
Yeah.
You think so?
Well, with all the Washington bets you'll make.
Click, click, click. 13-1 championship. Click. All right, I'll take that. I got two jerseys now with Daniels. That's it. Purple now.
So I think, and let me just say, again, it's being the most unbiased man in the history of sports media. I'm lucky it's not hard on me. It's just what I am. Now the chances of me having Cowboys bets next season are so big it's unbelievable.
Really? Why? Because because the bar is low. But here's
Bar's
the thing.
low, coach is out, star could come in.
But the bar isn't low. You still got Dak, a guy that's still. We talk about Justin Herbert.
Is he even still on that roster?
He is.
Come on.
CD Lamb.
What a star.
Is CD going to be reading a book on the sidelines?
It's Micah Parsons. Whoa. So you don't like some light reading? Not your style? What do you wish he had out? The phone, the quad box? Could have checked in on some out-of-town scores?
Absolutely. Some hoops. What about that?
Speaking of hoops, you have any? You take a look?
I didn't really look tonight.
Take a quick look.
Let me take a glimpse.
Take a quick look. I'm hearing, ready, he's going to love this. One of our producers, Chris Kosky, Buddy Hield, 14.5 points plus rebounds. Loves it.
Oklahoma, Buddy Hield. Gotta love it.
The Oklahoma two-step. We're also hearing a little bit about Austin Reeves on the glass tonight.
All right, so I'm going to give you one right now.
Go ahead.
So North Carolina absolutely smacked Notre Dame over the weekend, right?
You're on the college board.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, BC plus the 11.5 tonight against Notre Dame.
Whoa, all right.
Blue collar. It's
blue collar, Mike Blewett. All blue, baby. All right, let's lock it in then.
Give me
That's
the 11.5.
I'm Kevin Walsh. We'll see you in an hour for Monday Night Football.